So what if I told you that that single share you own isn't just a number on a screen? Well, today, we're going to go on a journey to unlock its hidden power. We're going to transform you from just a simple owner into a powerful protector of your investment. So let's dive in.
It really all boils down to this one question. When you buy a share in a company, what do you actually get? Is it just a digital receipt? Or is it a key to something more? We're about to find out that even one share is a ticket to a surprising amount of power and protection.
All right, so every journey has a starting line, right? For us, it's this: the moment you officially become a shareholder. And this isn't just about the moment you click buy. It's about getting your very first, and honestly probably the most important, layer of protection. You might think being a shareholder means you get some fancy stock certificate in the mail. But the legal reality? It's way simpler. It all comes down to one thing. Is your name on the company's share register? Seriously, that list, it's everything. It's the official, definitive proof of ownership. If you're on that list, you've got rights. If you're not, well, you don't.
And being on that list gets you this, your foundational shield. The single greatest protection you have is something called limited liability. So what does that mean in plain English? It means the company's problems are not your problems. If the company racks up millions in debt, creditors can't come after your house, your car, or your savings. Nope, your personal risk is limited to whatever you paid for your shares. It's a massive firewall between your personal assets and whatever happens to the company.
Okay, so you're officially on the list, and your personal stuff is protected. Now we get to the fun part. How do you actually use your power as an owner? It's time to open up the rulebook.
Your power as a shareholder really comes alive in a few key places. Of course, you've got the annual meetings, that's the standard one, but you can also call for special meetings if something urgent comes up. And for smaller, more nimble companies, there's this really efficient tool called a resolution in lieu of a meeting. It's basically a written vote. Think of it like a group email to get a decision made without having to book a conference room. Super handy.
But listen, not all votes are created equal. You can see here there are different levels of power. For the routine, day-to-day stuff, a simple majority, what's called an ordinary resolution, is all you need. More than 50% says yes, and it's done. But for the really big stuff, like fundamentally changing the company's constitution or deciding to shut it down, the bar is way, way higher. You need a special resolution, and that requires over 75% of the vote. It's a really important safeguard to make sure a small majority can't make huge company-altering decisions on a whim.
So what happens when one of those big votes doesn't go your way? You voted no, but you lost. This is a critical crossroads on the shareholder's journey, and you might think you're out of options. But being in the minority doesn't mean you're powerless. In fact, it can trigger some very specific and very powerful rights.
Right, so you voted no on a massive change, but the special resolution passed anyway? Are you just stuck, forced to go along for the ride? Absolutely not. You can actually trigger this incredibly powerful tool called the minority buyout right. This essentially gives you the power to say, okay, I don't agree with this new direction, so you, the company, have to buy my shares back from me at a fair price. It's your escape hatch.
And the process for this is surprisingly clear and straightforward. First, you give them written notice. Then, the board has to respond and come up with a fair price. But here's the best part. What if you think their offer is a lowball? What if you disagree on what's fair? Well, that's where the real protection kicks in. The whole thing goes to an independent arbitrator to figure out the true value. It's a built-in safety net to make sure you get treated fairly.
But what if the problem is bigger than just a single vote? What if things are going seriously wrong? This brings us to the final part of our journey, your ultimate protections. Think of this as the shareholder shield. These are the legal heavy hitters you can use when you need to hold the company accountable. Now, this is a question that trips up a lot of people. It sounds simple, but legally, it's a world of difference. Are you suing because something happened that harmed you personally, or are you suing because something happened that harmed the company? The answer changes everything.
Let's break this down. A personal action is pretty much what it sounds like. The company or its directors did something that directly harmed you, so you sue. And if you win, the payout goes into your pocket. Simple enough. But a derivative action, now this is fascinating. This is for when the directors have wronged the company, but they aren't doing anything about it. So you can go to court and get permission to step into the company's shoes and sue the wrongdoers on the company's behalf. If you win, the payout goes back into the company's bank account, which helps all the shareholders. Pretty cool, right?
But what if it's not just one bad decision? What if it's a whole pattern of behavior? What if you feel like the company's actions are oppressive or they're treating you in a way that's unfairly prejudicial? This is where the law hands the courts their most sweeping, most powerful tools to step in and make things right.
And the power the court has here is just incredible. They can do almost anything. They can force the company to buy your shares, they can order them to pay you compensation directly, they can even fire the people in charge and appoint a whole new manager to run the company. They can literally rewrite the company's rulebook. And in the most extreme cases, if the conduct is bad enough, a court can just shut the whole thing down and put the company into liquidation. That is the ultimate shareholder shield.
So we've come to the end of our journey. And if there's one thing to remember, it's this. That single share you own is so much more than a financial asset. It's your voice in the room. It's your power to make change. And it's your shield when things go wrong. But like any tool, it's only powerful if you know how to use it.